Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to show you a little bit about these door check straps on these P80 Volvos. Something that you need to fix before it gets too bad. Basically, the door check strap holds the door open. And when they get bad and get jammed, they start binding and popping and clicking and all other kind of things that you need to be aware of. This one is not holding this door open, and as I open the door, you can hear that funny click. And sometimes when you hear that funny click, it pops, it does different things. But at a certain point, it gets to where it'll bind and start tearing the metal as you open and close the door, and you don't want that to happen. So it's best when they're at this point to go ahead and replace them, and you should lubricate all of them. But you got to remove the door panel. You have to remove those two 10mm screws, and then I think you have maybe a T40 in there that you have to remove behind that grommet. So let me go ahead and remove the door panel. The video for the door panel removal is linked below. After you get the door panel off, you pry this open so you can see the inside of the door where the door check strap is. Then you pull this rubber up away from where the door check strap mates, and you'll see that screw there. Sometimes this problem will tear the frame of the door check there, or it'll tear the frame of the door there, and you'll have to get a welder to weld that stuff back in place before your doors and stuff will function properly. Now, a lot of people don't know it, but these door check straps are reversible. If you scrape the dirt off of this side of it, it'll say right front, and if you flip it over, it'll say left front. So it is a reversible part. You could use them on either side. So I pulled that T40 and I pulled those two 10mm, and you just kind of wiggle and maneuver it until you can get it to come out of this space in the door here. And if you keep working at it, it will come out one way or another. First thing I do is maneuver it to get it all the way in there, and then I work on maneuvering it to get it out this way. So now it's out. Install the replacement one and you're all done. As you can see, that says front left, and if you flip it over, it says front right. In this video, I'm going to try to figure out why this fuel sending unit is not reporting the proper fuel amount in the gas tank. So right now it's saying it's a little bit less than a half a tank. As you can see, it's moving while we're sitting here, going down lower and lower. Shut it off, start it back, it'll go up to a full tank. It's always something other than what you need. So I'm gonna pull the intake pump sending unit out and check the contacts for resistance, seeing if maybe a little cleaning or something on them will help them out. I start out by folding down the back seats. Then I lift these little panels up and remove those bolts there. You got one on this side, two on the other side, and lift up that section of the flooring. Once you have all three of those bolts out, lift up a little bit, pull it forward so that you have a gap on both sides. Pull. There you go. Now you have your access panel for your fuel pump there. Remove those 4 screws. Once those 4 10mm bolts are out, you want to go ahead and pry up on the panel so you can access the sending unit. There's the sending unit there. If you want to try to test the sending unit before you pull it out, you have to access the other end of the wiring, which you can see the wiring goes in there. Wiring and connection should be behind this corner panel here in the back. You pull that out and you should see a wiring harness that comes in right here. Here's the wiring harness. So a couple of these wires are for the sending unit and a couple are for the fuel pump. Okay, I'm going to take a guess here that this black wire is a ground, this red wire is a wire for the power for the pump, and these two other wires are the wires that control the sending unit. So I'm going to unplug this, trying not to damage any wires that are going in there, and I'm going to check the resistance on this. And the actual best way to do it is to pull the pump assembly out and lift up and let down on that sending unit to see how the resistance changes. I'm going to clean away the cobwebs here and take this cap off and see how much effort it's going to be to get that sending unit pretty much out of there so I can test it. I have the two small fuel line clamps removed. I got this vent emission hose loose. I got this bigger filler hose loose and out of the way. Now I need to get that metal clip lifted up so the wires won't have a pull on them. And I've already broke this loose with two hands so I could twist this sending unit cap off and pull that out of there. I pried that wire retainer loose there without having my hand in the way. I have no idea what county that landed in. So now I can twist the cap loose the rest of the way and pull that sending unit out. So let me do that with two hands. Now that you have the pump off, you got to slowly work the sending unit out of the tank, and it's got this rubber seal here. So you want to take a larger screwdriver and work it out from side to side until you can get it out, but you don't want to break it if you plan on using it again, and you got to take your time getting it out of there because you don't want to damage the seal or the sending unit or nothing like that. So let me get two hands back on it and keep working that sending unit out. I lift the cap out because it's entangled in the wires. I turned everything kind of faced up so I can get it to come up. You hold the lines and stuff out of the way and you pull a unit out of there. You can also lift up that other part of the floor and pull that whole wire harness out of there if you want, but you may not have to do that just to check the float sending unit in it. That's the unit, and there's the small in-tank pump. You could double test that to make sure that works. And then these other two gray wires are for that sending unit. So you want to figure out a way to hook up your own meters to there and then make that float go up and down and see if the resistance changes in it in a smooth, proper way. Somebody told me it should be from 0 to 80, whatever measures resistance. So let's see if I can figure that out. I can hear some kind of float in this thing. When I tilt it down like that, it goes one way. When I tilt it up, I can hear the float go up. I can see it in there now. Alright, that would be full. That would be empty. So I'm going to try to check the resistance up here with it down on empty and then up on full and see what the difference is. But it doesn't look like nothing I'm going to be able to do anything about because this thing is kind of closed up. So I have the meter at times 10 and the float moves between, I would say, this 50 or 60 range down to around 18. But at some points in the travel, the meter drops off to almost nothing. It drops down to like the 100 range. So here it is at the full level. It's tilted up like that, and as I tilt it down and shake it so it goes down slowly, you can see at some points on the gauge it actually falls off. I'm wiggling it so it goes down a little bit at a time. See right there, it dropped down for a second. It dropped down for a second again, and it should be climbing toward the 20 mark. Now that's at empty. Now I'm going to come back to the full mark, slowly but surely. And instead of it coming up nice and smooth, see right there, it dropped off for a second. It dropped off again. So I think my float's bad. There it is. It's dropped off to nothing. I'm getting no reading again. I'm getting no reading again. I'm getting some reading there. It's about halfway. I'm at about a quarter of a tank or something like that. And it's all the way down to empty. So at some points in the travel, that's about a quarter of a tank. That's about a half a tank. It's not reading anything. And that's a full tank. It's reading something there. I'm going to try to take this screw out of here and see if there's something I could do on the inside of that to clean that out. But it looks like I may have some arcing or something there. I don't know. Let me see if I could take it apart. Pulled this little screw and bracket off the top. I was able to get some slack in it to unhook the fuel pump unit from it. So that's been unpumped. Next, I pulled this apart from it. It has 3 catches on it. So I pushed the screwdriver in there and pried inward, and the catch pulled off. Next, I'm going to heat up these solder points, which will remove the wires from those collectors, from those connectors there that's coming out of the sending unit. Then I'll be able to pull this sending unit apart. Because with that apart like that, and if I try to pull it apart, it pulls on these wires. So I'm heating up my soldering iron now. Of course, you want to be careful with fuel and soldering iron, but that's where I'm at. Well, my desoldering efforts didn't go very well. So I cut these wires, and I'm going to have to splice them together very well when I go back together. But I think I have this thing where I can pull this out now. So let me pull this out and see how that goes together, and see if there's something I could do to help this work better. So I pulled it out of there, and let me see how this goes in the... After you disconnect the wires, you can slide the float unit out of the sending unit. And with the sending unit out, you can see those 3 release tabs. You got a small one there, a medium sized one there, and then another small one. One side actually came out of the end of the unit, the other side did not. Let me see if I can get this to slide down. And as you can see, this spring has rub marks on it, and it glides on that thing there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out, clean it off a little bit, and it should just slide out. Let's see here. There it goes. It slid right out. And clean those 2 contacts off that it slides down, and put this back together, see if that fixes my problem. This thing here glides up and down these 2 spring rods, and I guess as it gets higher, it changes the level on the gauge. And as you can see, it's wound tight down this end, and as it gets up in this end, it's wound looser. And that should give you the different depths on the gauge, whether it's full or empty. Up here should be full. Down there is a wound tighter. It should be empty. Edge here has some buildup on it. I don't know if that's making a difference or not. I'm going to play this in, squeezed in a little bit. I don't know if that'll help or not. Hopefully it will. Alright, I got one side squeezed in a little better. Now both sides are squeezed in a little better. Open it up a little bit so it don't cause any harm on it. Actually, opening them up may be better than what I've done to squeeze them closed. So, here's the thing that glides up and down on this thing here, on these little poles here. So, I'm going to flip these off of the brackets, open them up a little better so they can put more pressure on them a little bit, and I'm going to clean the back sides of them off and see if that helps my fuel gauge put this thing back together. I'm going to just barely brush those off with alcohol pad and maybe one brush or two with a fine grit sandpaper or steel wool, and put this thing back together. You can see those 3 release tabs. You got a small one there, a medium sized one there, and then another small one, so you can snap that back in place and have it orientated the proper way. So let me snap that back in place, get ready to put it all back in. Now that's snapped back in place, 2 small tabs and the large tab. Now I can slide the float back up into the sending unit and solder those wires together and shrink wrap them. I wouldn't trust putting those wires together any other way inside that tank, really, because you don't want them coming loose and you losing your float. That float assembly is going to go in one way because that fuel pump attaches to it in that clip. Then attach your wires, lower the sending unit back in the tank, secure it, hook up your lines, and see if you're good to go. I put that retaining clip back on the sending unit, the one with the T10 screw bracket. Okay, I put all the connections in. I plugged the sending unit fuel pump assembly back in. So let's turn the vehicle on, see if this gas gauge acts better. Remember, it was going up around halfway and then dropping off? Shoot, it's down near E right now, so it doesn't look like I did a good job putting those wires back together in there. Yeah, I think I need to go back in that tank and solder those wires back together a little better. See if that helps. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.